Welcome back to Dmac Mad Gaming. I'm your host, Dmac. And here, we believe gaming is a lifestyle, not a hobby. And today I got a really interesting topic I want to talk about with you guys. And today we're going to be talking about the DICE Summit Conference. Now, for those who've been under a rock or in a black hole somewhere and don't know about it, I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you what the conference is about. And for those who know about it, don't really care about it, you should, because it's really informative. So what is the DICE Summit Conference? It's a conference where all the big leagues in the game industry get together to talk about what they're going to be doing going forward for the game industry in the future. What kind of innovations they're going to be trying to implement, what kind of new business models they're going to be trying to implement going forward for gaming for the future. And I felt that was really important. And if you're a gamer that loves everything about gaming, this is a conference you shouldn't miss. But I want to talk about one particular part of the conference that was the most interesting to me, and that was Phil Spencer's speech. But before I actually watched the whole conference, I decided to get online and see what other people's opinion about it was before I actually watched the conference. So when I actually read people's comments after watching it, I won't be so upset if they said something out of pocket. So I decided to check it out first before I actually watched the conference. So I took to Reddit and looked at some posts, looked at some DMs on Twitter, and read some articles that were covering the conference and covering Phil Spencer's speech in particular. I gotta say, it was quite divided. I was quite surprised because everyone talk about how all media is becoming leftists, extreme leftists, trying to side with the SJW, trying to become SJWs themselves, and trying to show diversity down one's throat. But half of them felt like they agreed with Phil, agreed with what's going on in all media, and how diversity is important, and support what they're trying to do. So I was quite surprised. But after I watched the conference and listened to Phil Spencer's speech, I was quite inspired, quite motivated by what he was talking about. So I decided to make a video on it because I feel like people didn't give him a fair shake when he delivered that speech at DICE this year. So I decided to make the video to try to clarify what he's trying to say while offending people. So what we're going to cover in his speech that he delivered at DICE this year was empathy and trust, accountability, and a growth mindset. And how I'm going to do it in this video is quite different than I usually do it. What I'm going to do is have some clips from the speech, certain parts of the speech that I want to talk about directly, and let you hear what he exactly said, and then give you my opinion and try to get you to understand what exactly he mean by it without offending you, because everyone is really defensive lately. So let's get started. Now, what made Phil Spencer's speech so motivated and interesting and DICE is because he was talking about how the media is changing. The culture in media is changing dramatically. There's more diversity and more representation in media today than there's ever been before. And how the gaming industry is trying to move in that same direction. And he was telling the DICE audience and how his experience in the last 4 years of being the leader of Xbox and how his team and his company has become more diverse and have more representation in it. And how he's trying to get other organizations in the game industry to do the same. And he was telling them his experience as being the head leader of Xbox and the trials and tribulations he went through trying to make that goal a reality. And it all started 4 years ago when a new CEO took over Microsoft. And this new CEO opened up their eyes and gave them a different perspective on how to change their business model and be more diverse. And I'll let Phil Spencer tell you who this guy is. Take it away, Phil.
Satya Nadella became just the third CEO of Microsoft's history. We all knew something was different about Satya when he assigned the leadership team to read Nonviolent Communication, Life-Changing Tools for Healthy Relationships. And then he started quoting poetry. But it was obvious that Microsoft needed a reboot. Morale had hit a low. We were all massively frustrated that we kept missing big trends. And in some ways, it felt like real innovation was impossible. And the infighting and fiefdoms were so famous, people made fun of it. Which would have been funny if it hadn't been so true.
Wow, a lot of us probably know that Satya assigned these two books to the leadership of Microsoft. And these two books changed the culture in Microsoft, transformed their culture into a better culture. The two books that he was talking about is Nonviolent Communications and Life-Changing Tools for Healthy Relationships. These books change the perspective of the leaders in Microsoft. And I know you're going to ask, how is these books going to make them better leaders? What's going to make them more effective leaders? It's going to allow them to be able to hear everyone's ideas, organize everyone better, and use their skills effectively in developing games for the gaming industry. And I think these are powerful books that we all should read. I'm going to read it myself. So why is this important, you wonder? Well, let me tell you why it's important. First of all, when you're a leader of a group of people that trying to accomplish a goal, you want to be the most effective leader you can and have your team trust you. And these are important. That's why this is going to talk about the first key point that was really important in Phil's speech at DICE: empathy and trust. Now, how does empathy and trust play a part in the teams in Microsoft and these books that Satya had them read? It has a lot to do with it. If you're a leader and you let your team bounce ideas off you, you use your team's ideas to the best of your ability to create the best product or software you're trying to create, it builds trust. So how's that building trust? Well, let me explain. If you are a leader and you're trying to create the brand new console for the next generation, and you have a team of engineers that you're trying to work with, first thing you're gonna want to know is what is the tools and resources they're gonna need to create this product. What kind of time and work hours they're gonna need. How many members they need to work and complete this at a certain date and time. And you need to allow the team to come together and work on the design, bounce ideas off each other, and kind of correct each other on the best effective way to create the best product you can. And when you allow them to hear your ideas and you allow them to bounce ideas off each other, you build trust. And then what if the product fails? Well, then that's when empathy plays a big part. Because if the product fails, it's not one person's fault. It's the whole team's fault. And that also builds trust. And it helps your team be more confident in talking and spreading ideas and kind of correcting each other in a positive, effective way. And that's why empathy and trust is a key component in building a strong, reliable team when you're doing any type of creation, from software to hardware to making YouTube videos. This is very important. It's a necessary skill you need to develop as a leader. And for Satya to have them read them two books helped them change their perspective, which helped them change Microsoft culture for the better. Allow them to have a more diverse team of individuals. Now, I'm not saying hire people based on their skin color or ethnicity or sexual orientation. I'm talking about hiring people that have the necessary skills you need to create the best product you want to create. And that it's not unfair. That's progress. That's progress. And that's what helps build a better product, make more innovations, make an organization more powerful, make the ideas more effective. And this is the reason why Phil had to go through these changes in the last 4 years of Microsoft. And this is why Microsoft have made great strides in the game industry for customers, for the gamers, for the gaming community. And I think this is the reason why. So now I'm going to let you hear a clip of Phil in his speech at DICE where he talks about his own experience and how his experiences in the last 4 years of being a leader of Microsoft and how these new perspective worked for him and how difficult it was and how he had to check his own biases at the door. Take it away, Phil.
Almost 4 years ago today, I became the head of Xbox. And I thought, in case this might help you, I thought I'd share some of my learnings over the last 4 years on our cultural transformation. I'd been in my role for a month when I had the opportunity to speak at our Xbox team at an all-hands meeting, talking to everyone. The team was in a world of pain. We hadn't done our best work with the announce of the Xbox One. The product we built wasn't meeting the expectations of our customers. Market share taking a nosedive, and it was painful to read all the headlines. Plus, and most importantly, the team thought the leadership team had gone totally tone deaf about what our customers were demanding from us. I knew I had to do more than articulate our strategy to win back the hearts of our customers. I had to win back my team's trust. So we chose to tell our team about some confidential news that we couldn't take public for a couple months, as well as the strategy behind that decision. Thousands of my team heard the news that day. And the amazing thing is, word didn't leak. Not one tweet, not one forum post. That was a significant milestone in our journey to rebuild trust between the leaders and the team. For me, this was a huge lesson about trust. But more than that, It was a lesson about empathy, about looking up above the noise of the headlines and the weight of the emails and meeting my team at their heart, addressing their worries and trusting them first.
Wow, very inspiring, very powerful stuff. You heard it right there from that clip I just showed you guys. Phil knew when he became the leader of Xbox, when he called that first meeting for all his team members to gather together, his main goal was to earn the trust of his team. Because as he said in the video, none of his team members or any team member in Microsoft felt like the leaders of these teams wasn't hearing what they had to say, was tone deaf, was not hearing any ideas they had at all, wasn't considering any of the ideas at all. And this is the reason why Microsoft Xbox One failed when it first launched. This is the reason why they had so much heat from the media when they released this hardware to the world, because people weren't hearing it. And Phil understood that. Satya understood that. That's why when Satya took over Microsoft as the CEO 4 years ago, he assigned them to read. He assigned the leaders of Microsoft to read these two important books: Nonviolent Communications and Life-Changing Tools for a Healthy Relationship. These two books allow the team leaders to get a different perspective and able to create principles that help be a more effective leader and allow their team to work efficiently and create the best products they can for their company and to create a better look for their brand. And it worked. No one thought Microsoft was going to be able to change it around when they first launched the Xbox One, but they did. And that's because of the two books they read and because of the principles they learned from the two books, because it changed their perspective on how they should conduct business within their own company. It was a cultural transformation, and that was really important. Empathy and trust is not a weakness, it's a strength, and it's really effective when you're a team leader. But there's another important principle that you need to have as a team leader, and that's accountability. But as I said before, being accountable for your team is not taking heat yourself. That's allowing yourself to speak up for your team and take the accountability for your team's fault together as a team, which also builds trust. And this principle here is one of the most important ones because it shows that you are a leader that hears your team's opinions and hopes and dreams and stands by them regardless of their failures. Because we all make mistakes. We all have biases that everyone doesn't like. We all have flaws that people may not like. That's just the way the world works. And to be able to stand accountable for these flaws and biases is important as a team leader and as a group that's creating content for people to consume. It's really important. And I think Phil Spencer nailed it here when he talked about it at the DICE Summit Conference this year. But I'm going to let you hear it yourself so you can tell me what you think. Take it away, Phil.
The most difficult lesson I learned was at GDC 2016. For 20 years, Microsoft's Women in Gaming, and later including Microsoft Blacks in Gaming, had sponsored sessions at GDC. 2016 was the year we wanted to go bigger. We threw events for Latinx in gaming, LGBTQ in gaming. So along with many of you here in this room, we sponsored 4 days of really great community celebrations across our industry. But at a party, an unequivocally wrong, unequivocally sexist, and unequivocally intolerable choice was made. And obviously the backlash was justifiable and furious. The internal backlash at my own company was almost harsher. The easy thing would have been to sidestep responsibility. Instead, as a team, we bet on who we were and what we stood for. And we communicated that we don't tolerate any employee or any partner who creates an environment that enables or offends others. We bet on our own culture. And we communicated that we stand for inclusivity. And I personally committed to do better. For me, I think it's a leader's job to absorb the hit, to take personal accountability, and to be clear about our culture, who we are, and what we stand for.
Wow, that really impressed me. When I heard that part of the speech, that really impressed me as a gamer and as a person that he was able to take the hit for something that him and his team did and held themselves accountable. But he took the majority of the hit because what happened at the GDC of 2016 was a doozy. It was a lot of backlash from it. And as he said in that clip I just showed you, that he felt like as a leader, it's his job to take the hit for the team. And I'm sure his team appreciated him for it. And they trust him even more now because he took that hit. Because I'm sure he's not the only one that came up with it. He's part of the fighting one that signed off on it. But I'm sure that he was not the only one that came up with the idea that caused this backlash in the 2016 at the GDC. Now, I'm not going to talk about what he did at the GDC for 2016. If you want to know more about it, I'll leave a link to an article that covered it in the description box below for you guys to check out for yourselves. It's not relevant to what I'm talking about in this video. I decided not to go over it because it happened so long ago as well. But for him to take accountability for it and understand the implications of what he did and how it affected a large group of individuals was honorable and impressive because he understood that he made a mistake and he offended a large group of people and was able to recognize that and apologize for that and take the hit for it as well. Because I mean, the media ran with it and other companies talked about him for it. And Microsoft even chimed in on it. I mean, they actually went in on him as well. And he was able to take that hit, deal with all that pressure, and still have a focused mind to continue doing what he's been doing. Because he said it in that clip that I just showed you that he knew who his team was and who he is and what his company stands for. And he wanted to communicate that to the world. And I think that takes a strong leader that's an effective leader and knows his value and his team's value to be able to speak up for him and admit that he made a huge mistake and that he will learn from it. And he said in that clip as well that failure is still a sign of growth because you learn from your failures as well as you learn from your success. It's always an ongoing learning process for everyone in this world. You're never too old to learn something new. And I really stand by that. And I feel that Phil Spencer showed what kind of leader he was to be able to take that hit for his team and for his company. And I gotta get my head off to him because I mean that's impressive. And I had to wonder what kind of mindset he had to have to be able to deal with all that. I'm sure you guys wanted it as well. So let's talk about the last point I want to cover in his speech that probably gave him an ability to deal with all that pressure that happened at the GDC of 2016 and all the backlash that came after it. And that's a growth mindset. And it's the cornerstone of everything that we've been talking about in this video today. Because with the growth mindset, you're able to do the other two things effectively. And to let you know what a growth mindset is, we're going to let Phil Spencer tell you what that looks like as a leader. Take it away, Phil.
What made it easier for me to hold myself accountable was really believing in the growth mindset. Believing deeply that failure, even and maybe especially public failure, is the source of our greatest growth. I just read an interview with Brian Stevenson, the public defense lawyer who wrote Just Mercy. His quote echoed the need to be continuous learners, especially in the highly fraught dynamics such as gender and race. He wrote, "I don't think we should expect to make progress on these issues without bumping into one another, without making mistakes. What I don't think we should do is retreat." I agree with Brian. When we make mistakes and we bump and we collide into each other, the easy way is to retreat. Maybe even deny there's a problem. Instead, I think we have to be humble. I think we have to be active learners. Read, educate ourselves, try to understand other people's journeys, and read some more. And then, better informed, I think we commit to leading with deliberate purpose. This is something I know I have to work on every single day.
There you have it. This is my last talking point on his speech at DICE this year, which I thought was an amazing speech. A growth mindset, an active learner, learning everything you can, steady developing your skills and talents, dedication, hard work, and you can still implement this into a leadership role where you're an active learner, you're active listening, you're being productive actively, you're being able to learn as much as you can about everything you can to develop a strong understanding about how the world works. And this is a mindset that everyone should have, from children to adults. And as you see, as Will Spencer talked about in this last clip I showed you, that he's using the growth mindset to learn about other cultures, to learn about their struggles and their triumphs and things like that, to understand how to communicate and work with others of different backgrounds. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with adding diversity into your world. It's not nothing wrong with adding diversity into the gaming industry, representing everyone, so everyone can become unified in the gaming world. And this is what the game industry wants to do going forward. And having that growth mindset, active learning without trying to tell everyone what you know and how to do things, to be open and become an active listener, to listen to people's point of views, listen to people's ideas, even though it may not be the same as your ideas. This growth mindset allows you to be an effective leader, an effective person in life. It's the cornerstone of being successful in this world. And that's why I feel like this speech he did at DICE was so amazing, so outstanding, and why I feel like he was not trying to shove diversity down someone's throat. And the reason why he and others in the gaming industry wants to try to change their business model to reach more people, to create more fans, to unify the gaming world, and to maybe unify the world outside of gaming. And that's not a bad dream to have. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. My name is Dmac, and you've been watching Dmac's Mad Gaming. And as always, keep gaming. I'm out.